If you want to be better at pickleball, let's be honest. The quickest and most efficient way to do this is with practice, whether that be with drills or an in-person lesson. But in reality, not everyone has the time or desire to do those things. In this video, I'm going to show you 6 really simple ways to get better without practice, and they're going to change your game. The first way to get better without practice is to find the right paddle for your specific game style, okay? I see so many players that have a terrible paddle for their game and they don't even know it. Just because your coach told you that one paddle is the best, or you see that your friend's using a paddle, does not mean that it's the best for you. The only way that you can find out what paddle is best for your game is by trying as many as you can and seeing what you like the best. An important thing to consider is that you can't just go out to the courts and hit a few balls and then know which paddle you like best. Usually you need to play a full game, hitting all the different shots, getting into bad situations to determine which paddle is the best for you. A big thing to consider is that if you're hitting easy shots, just like dinks or volleys, pretty much any paddle will work. Where you need to have that good paddle though is on the harder shots where you maybe miss the center a little bit. That's where you feel whether or not a paddle is the right fit for your game. So do a little bit of research, go on the internet, look up best paddles, and figure out how to try as many as you possibly can. This could mean going to your local store, and it could also mean just asking your friends to try their paddles. The moral of the story is though, you want to invest in a nice paddle. You don't want to go for a cheap one. Get a nice paddle, and that's how you're going to take your game farther without practice. What could be even more important than the paddle itself though is how you customize it. I bet a lot of you already have a nice paddle, so the way that you could benefit is by customizing it. The main way that you can customize your paddle is by adding weight. Take a look at my paddle here. I have lead tape at very specific points that optimize my paddle to have the biggest possible sweet spot. So I have tape over it too, tape it back up. Just know by adding weight to your paddle, you can get more power, more control, and most importantly, you can increase the size of your sweet spot, which minimizes the mishits and the dead spots on your paddle. The amount of weight that you add on though is solely based on preference. I've seen some pros that use very little lead, and then other pros where their paddles are literally like clubs, right? I personally like mine really heavy. I think it's because I come from a tennis background, so I'm just used to something heavier in my hand. But this is something that you're gonna have to test out too. So I have some cool resources on that on our website, and we also make our own lead tape. So check that out if you're interested in getting some lead, customizing your paddle like that. Another thing that you can do to customize your paddle, guys, is focus on the grip. Okay, so personally, I use a leather grip on the bottom as a replacement grip, and then I put an overgrip on top of that. All right. Having a nice overgrip, a nice white, new, tacky overgrip is really important too, because when you do that, you're never gonna slip on your paddle, and that just makes you more accurate overall. Like I said, customizing your paddle to your personal specifications could be the most important thing on this list. Personally though, I think the last tip in this video made the biggest difference for me, so stay tuned. The next way to improve and consistently play better without practice is to have a good warm-up. Okay, so just know that there's 2 parts to a good warm-up in pickleball. The physical part of the warm-up and the pickleball part of the warm-up, okay? So looking at the physical part of the warm-up, you always want to do what's called a dynamic warm-up before you play, okay? So what a dynamic warm-up is a series of short stretches that target specific muscles and get you ready to go. Even if you only have 5 minutes, you should have enough time to go through a quick dynamic warm-up and get the blood flowing. So just to quickly go through the most common stretches that you do in a dynamic warm-up, you got the quad pull. The thing that differentiates this from normal stretching is that you're just doing a quick pulse in each position versus holding it for a long period of time, which is referred to as static stretching. So that's for our quads. Now we can go to one for our hamstrings. We're just gonna reach down and get a quick hamstring stretch. This is just an awesome way to warm up fast. You can find a lot of these online. Just know that this is gonna help you prevent injuries. You're gonna play a lot better. You're just gonna feel smoother on the court. So next time you play, try doing a few of those stretches right before, and I guarantee you're gonna play better. The next part of a good warm-up, guys, is the pickleball part. Before every time you play, you wanna get out and hit some balls so that you can calibrate your shots and get your reflexes fired up. The way that you do that is usually with some drills. So here we'll start off doing some dinks. Got some targets set up for Drew to work on his accuracy. The main thing though is, guys, we're just focused, working on calibrating our shots so that when we play, we don't miss, right? See, I just got a miss out of the way. If you guys don't warm up before your games, there's a lot higher chance that you're gonna start off slow. So we wanna avoid that and get going with a nice warm up. So now we're gonna do a little volley drill. This is just a cool little thing you can do to get going, guys. We're just going fast, trying to get the reflexes going. And what you should do is go through these sorts of rally drills on every shot. So your dinks, volleys, drops, do some drives, and then finish off with some serves. The whole process really only would take 5 to 10 minutes if you want to get through everything. The longer you go, the better. But The 5 to 10 minutes could make a huge difference, so I highly recommend doing that before all of your games. And guys, if you don't have a partner who wants to warm up with you, you can do all these drills on a wall or the Dink Master. It's an amazing way to fire up your reflexes, so check that out if you're interested. And also, I want to tell you, it's my personal mission to experiment and find the best possible information that I can to improve in pickleball. So if you want first dibs at seeing everything that I discover, make sure to subscribe and you'll see all of our new content that we're coming out with. We have some really awesome new videos in the works. Our next tip though is that when you're playing, you need to accept that you're going to hit bad shots. Players at all levels let this affect them way too much. No matter how good you are, there's going to be times where you screw up and do something that you're not trying to. The best players know this and they don't let it affect their focus and intensity. When you're out there guys, things aren't always going to go your way. So don't tie your emotions up with the match. Try your best to be robotic and have a short memory. Play 1 point at a time. At number 5, the next best way to get better without practice is to get better at scheduling games with players who are better than you. By playing better players, you're gonna have to adapt to survive. If whenever you play, you're the best player on the court, it's gonna feel super easy and like you're so good, but when you play with people that are better than you, you're not gonna know what to do. So when you're playing people that are better than you guys, you kind of become like a cat in a corner and you're gonna develop skills that you wouldn't otherwise develop if you were playing people that are at the same level as you. So one of the best ways to get better is to play with people that are better than you, okay? And it might be a little bit scary to play with people that are better than you, but that's actually gonna help you focus more, which is down the line gonna make a huge difference. But that doesn't mean you need to play with people that are better with you every single time. If you play around 3 times a week, just try to make 1 or 2 of them with people that are at least at your level or higher, and you're gonna see really big results. Side note though, before I get into this last tip, just know that each of these tips on their own isn't gonna make the biggest difference, but together they could transform your game. By getting a paddle that's better for your game, you're just gonna make less errors. And by warming up before every game, you're just gonna play better. You're always gonna be a little bit higher than you would have been. And by warming up, you're just gonna feel looser and have better starts to your games. And by playing with better people, you're just gonna improve and get used to that higher level. But this last tip is what could maybe help you the most. The next tip's one that's so underappreciated, and it's that you should watch the best players and study how they play and strategize. Watch things like their footwork and their tendencies around the court. You can even pick a player to model your game after. But this doesn't just mean to copy Ben Johns. Find a player that plays similar to you and look at things like how they attack, where they hit their third shots, and so on. And if you want to see 10 pickleball tips I wish I knew earlier, watch this.